So I just want to go on record, Mark. When I said 3-1 or 3-0 to Ireland, I actually meant morally.
No welcome. What's going on? No welcome.
I don't even want to do that. I don't even want to do it. Yeah, just that was the absolute shit. Sorry. Hello and welcome to Green Machine. We're not feeling very sexy. In fact, we're feeling that we've just eaten about 4 tubs of Pringles because we were stuffed, weren't we, Martin? That was where do we begin with that? That was the absolute shit. We didn't really get playing. Dodgy first 10 minutes, not great. Kind of settled into it. Maybe should have had Lee before, but then just never really got going in the second half at all today. Very poor performance. I mean, what do you say to that?
Yeah, look, it's really disappointing. We've, this is just look. It's an awful result. Like, I'm not going to defend that result at all. This is a really, really poor result. I don't know if it's as bad as the Luxembourg one when they came to Dublin. I don't know really.
Oh, this is worse.
All right, well there you go.
This is worse.
But there's not really any defense for it either. This is the problem we're going to have here on the show tonight, because we looked like a very, very kind of sloppy, sluggish team. Some of our better players who have been playing well for us didn't really perform. This is just a massive step back now. I've seen that maybe it is what I perceive to be an overreaction. People saying we've not progressed in 15 games. I don't think you can throw that at Kenny now. This is a really, really bad day at the office. We should be beating this type of team. All right, we should be struggling to a 1-0 win perhaps, but you've got to put these teams away and beat them. And we haven't, obviously. We didn't create a lot. We got very lucky for their goal. It was offside, but he should never have been offside. That's what I mean when I'm saying that.
Oh,
we dived in and it was just embarrassing defending then. We were very lucky, but in the first minute, it was a great save from Kelleher very early, which was a warning sign to us. And that was how the game was going to be, really. The longer it went on, it was going to always be a 1-0, basically. I thought he didn't even really deserve to get back into it.
No, I mean, they should have been 1-0 up earlier. Yeah. He gained no advantage, number 11. Can't think, haven't got his name there actually on the. He actually was substituted straight after that. He didn't have to be offside. Ireland,
no,
6 and 7s completely. Like, he gained no advantage of being offside. That's why he was so annoyed with himself. He was maybe because of that he was taken off. Actually had a very good chance to make it 2-0 or 1-0, I suppose, after that as well. It was just really bad. I mean, the reason why I say this is worse than Luxembourg, and I'm not trying to be overly dramatic, is that with Luxembourg you kind of understood it was early in the process. Still trying to feel his way around international football. Kenny, the team, your selections, trying to get used to it and all the kinds of COVID. But none of that here today, Martin. Like, that was pretty much a full strength team other than Doherty, right back. We have Enda Stevens and Coleman as your wing backs. So, okay, you're missing Doherty, but you're well covered there. They just never got going. And I don't think, I'm seeing some of the comments coming in here. I'm going to leave the comments for a bit. Keep them coming in. I'm looking at the comments coming in on the page as well.
Feel free to ask questions, kind of prompt us to kind of chat about different things, because I'm in kind of shock, to be honest. I'm disappointed in a lot of their performances tonight, this evening, afternoon even. And it's not a defense of them at all, but it really did look like a team that hadn't played football for a month. They were very sloppy. Robinson particularly sloppy at times. I'm not blaming anyone performance-wise. I don't think anyone was absolutely really, really, really shocking. But I think you need, in that heat, you do need players with high levels of fitness and energy. Some of our lads haven't played a lot of football. The likes of Hendricks, very sloppy. I've actually thought he did okay at one bit, when he was playing a little bit further forward and he was getting the ball in a half turn. He was quite creative for us. But that is literally looking for a bright spark of Hendricks' performance. I would have preferred to see James McLean playing on the left. I think he would have brought a bit more energy. Our best player again, I think, was Ogbene. By far, he was the one who was going to create, and he should have probably scored that header as well.
Benny was our best player, but that's not covering Benny in loads of glory either. He was dangerous for the first few minutes, but then their defender, Harian,
Brilliant. Yeah.
he just marked him out of the game. That's the thing with Benny, though. And you never get full. I'm not having to go at Benny, but you never get a full 90 minutes out of him. I mean, I suppose it's impossible. You know, he either starts off well and he fizzles, which he did in this case, or he'll grow into a game. It was just Hendrick, yes. Oh, I mean, he went with Hendrick in the searing heat. I think this lad hasn't played football for QPR for the last 5-6 games. Why are you playing him then?
Yeah.
Why are you playing him? You know, Jason Knight should have started. He's been playing regularly for Derby. Then, obviously, I understand the rotation. I understand that because it's going to be 4 games in 10 days, 2 trips to Dublin. There's also a trip to Yerevan and a trip to Poland as well. And so I get the whole load thing, but you know what? It was 35 degrees there. That's not. I'm not making excuses for them. This Ireland team should have done so much better. And I wasn't impressed with Kenny's in-game management either. I thought it was quite poor. 5 substitutions, and Hendrick still remained on the pitch. That was crying out for Jason Knight to come on there for him. I thought I think it was crying out for substitutions on the 55th minute. I really think, you know, when we give 60 minutes, don't you? That's normally the sort of unwritten rule.
Yeah.
But you know, he makes one substitution. He brings Obafemi on. He brought him on for Parrott on the 62nd minute, right? That says that's basically him saying, well, I think the tactics are fine. We just need a bit more of an end product. No, tactics weren't fine. The play, well, I mean, the tactics probably were good, but the implementation. Sorry, I'm so fucking angry. The implementation of the tactics were not fine. Yeah. So that's when you need to make a change in the midfield. And Hendrick had blown himself out. He just fizzled out.
I think with I actually thought Parrott was quite creative for us and was a threat. And like Ogbene,
after the water break, he was okay.
Out of him and Robinson and Ogbene, I think the 2 of them were better than Robinson and less sloppy in possession. And they seem to just trying to get things going. And I think if you look back at the game, not that anyone probably would want to watch it, but I think you'll see that they did play okay. And they were a creative spark for us. But the Obafemi thing was a weird one. He absolutely did nothing in the game. He didn't look after the ball very well when he came in. Now, that will be deemed as me slagging him off. It's not. It's just we didn't need him in this game. We were not going to do anything with him coming on in this game. I can understand the Will Keane thing, but he didn't change anything tactically to make Obafemi come on. I think what he was doing was he was just putting on loads of attackers. It was a little bit like
desperation.
You know, yeah. It was Panic. Just like, oh well, we've got a forward here. I will put another forward on without actually thinking. Now we're going to get the ball in there because Duffy played up front for the last 10 minutes basically. If you look back at it, I think, we just didn't move the ball quick enough either, and you have to do that. And it was what I said for the game as well. Although it was a very open game. When they go 1-0 up, they're going to go back in their shot, and you've got to break them down. And we didn't have anyone clever enough to do that, and just ultimately really, really disappointing. You know, there's a lot of them. I think what it was, a player. None of them ever played well at the same time. So Parrott had a spell, and then Ogbene had a spell, and Robinson might have do something good. None of them they never clicked together and played together very well. That was the thing. So you never had anything created and stuff.
No, it was very it was, you know, you have a go, I have a go. And it was just, you just felt if something was going to win it was going to be a bit of individual brilliance or ball going in off the back of someone's arse. Yeah. Nathan Collins is a right centre-back or, right centre-back in the back 3 or back 5, or whatever way you want to put it. Some criticism coming in of him from a couple of comments there. I don't think he had a terrible game, to be fair.
He was very sloppy for the one. I think we've kind of
the
marked
him. Pass.
And Duffy gets booked. That was bad. And that reminded me actually of the game in Wales when we lost there in the lockdown game where was it Jack Byrne gets Hendrick sent off basically with a really bad hospital ball. Where you've got to commit. I mean, Hendrick took one for the team later on, but it was actually from Hendrick's own mistake that he had to then foul him and bring him down. So he couldn't blame anyone.
No.
So, look, really frustrating. You know, we didn't test their keeper enough. They're going to do all that. You know, anytime you physically challenge them, Egan and Duffy are a threat, and they're going to go down. The keeper's going to lie down, roll around, and they're going to be showing them the ref that threw elbows in and all sorts like that. That's how these teams manage the game, basically. And I know I've seen some stuff online as well. Oh, the ref's terrible. Like, it's definitely a home ref here. You know, there was just bits where the ball would come into Ogbeni because they were rotating the front three, which I thought was actually quite good. But it would come into him, and he made the wrong choice. I thought he played very well, out of our team, basically. But he made the wrong choice. He's trying to flick it, and he's looking for a foul. Where actually he's on the edge of the box. He's got to hold that ball. Like Adam Ida would have held that ball. I think Obafemi as well. He wants to go always in behind. He wasn't good enough. I think even from their goal, it comes into Obafemi. He doesn't look after it or battle enough for it, and then it breaks. And very similar. We've got this terrible habit of backing off a midfielder coming through and letting him have a free shot at goal. And at that level, you can't afford to do that because they will stick it right in the corner and the keeper can't even get it then.
They practice it every day, don't they? That's the thing. Like, if that's your profession, you know, it's not like, I am go for a kick about with the lads, you know, and then go off and work. No, that is their work. That's what you do. You give them that time. It was so bad. The referee didn't give us much, but at the end of the day, you know, you've got to expect that. You always got to go in believing the referee's going to be against you, you know, and if he's, you know, if he's in your favor, then it's a bonus. But you've always got to go in with that mentality. Referee's going to be against you. He didn't give us much, but at the end of the day, he didn't do anything decisive. Do you know what I mean? Like, or divisive or anything that gave them the absolute utmost edge. He didn't get a decision terribly wrong. I thought Robinson, he was just thrown. I like Callum Robinson, but he was just throwing himself to the ground. He was looking for the easy way out. I found today. Yeah. I thought the Irish players never once looked comfortable. They never had any sort of cutting edge. They were just passing around the back four constantly. That's great. But once we got around their box and we passed, we'd either overstep, lose control, as you say, trying to run in behind instead of hold it up and then bring players into the game. And then we seem to be doing this thing. Like, you just want somebody to just sometimes just getting the ball and just putting it in the top corner, you know, or try. It was just too much fiddling about. Then it would break down and then they would go. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at some of the. I'm so angry. I'll have a look at some of the comments here. I made a comment saying that we've created a national holiday in Armenia because obviously they've probably exercised the ghosts of 2011 when they had the goalkeeper wrongfully sent off, and I think was it Roy Keane's mate handle it. And he got away with it. The left back, Stephen Ward, I think, handballed it, didn't he?
I think it might have been Simon Cox, was it? No?
Simon Cox, sorry. Simon Cox. Oh, the bloody same. I also said, I made a comment on a live reaction imminently. Javier say, we still haven't won a game in this TV3 competitions. And somebody took umbrage saying, oh, you're slagging off the Nations League. I'm not. I'm just saying the curse of TV3. Fans of my age and your age, Mark, although you never had TV3, would understand. It just means we never won a game on TV3. Right. Some of the comments. Sam McCarthy got it all wrong today. Too much flashness and playing it around the Armenian box. Crosses were all over the place too. The Nations League, of course, hangs over. Still good. Sam gets it. Good lad, Sam. And then Alan Peter Michael Moore responds, it's more of an opposition curse than a Nations League curse. Gareth Matty, same old. Kenny hadn't a breeze on how to change things around. Brace yourselves for another piss poor Nations League and team selection campaign. I agree with some of that. I do think it's obviously, look, every manager has a bad day at the office. Jack had them, Mick had them, Trapp had plenty, so did Martin O'Neill. So we'll see how this one goes. But yeah, I do agree. I thought his in-game management was very good. Something we have actually commented on. Believe it or not, I have actually said something negative about Stephen Kenny once I've removed my head from his arse. Dermot Wallace, shocking performance, no excuses, can't create a decent chance of crosses where abysmal, look like a Division 2 team. Bjorn Manning, building for the future, and he does the emoji with the hands over the face. Yeah, that's why this is worse than a Luxembourg result. Mick, I'm going to go with St. Dotty. The sad thing is it wasn't even that surprising. We were min on just like Armenia. Don't agree with that. Jerry Delaney, wonder what Kenny's fans in the media will have to say now. Kenny, I'm sure, will be whining about some decision about a throw-in or a corner or some other minor infringement, just not good enough. I think that's a little bit harsh there. Del Hart, lads, look like they've been on the piss since the end of the season. Absolute shocker. Jeff Hendrick's worst ever game?
I don't agree with that. I think, geez, I've seen him worse, to be fair. And that's not saying much, though, is it? But I think looking at it as well, you got just, you know, this is... It just shows you where we are as an Irish fan base as well. It's still a big divide. I'm not defending that performance and that result. That set us back massively. He had an ambition, Kenny, to win this Nations League. Losing to them is not gonna set you up to do that. That's a massive, massive disappointment. But as soon as we get a bad result, I can just see everybody jumping on it again and going, "Oh, he's this and he's only a League of Ireland manager, and Brady was right, shouldn't have got this thing."
That's nonsense.
It's just rubbish. Like, the FAI were in a situation where they had to extend that contract or give him the bullet. That's just the way we have evolved out of this pandemic and the previous campaign. And they obviously saw enough. I think most Irish fans who go to matches, well, the proof is in the pudding of when they go to matches. They're singing about Stephen Kenny. They're seeing the change of football. This hasn't changed that for me. It's just really disappointing. It's a massive setback. And it does sadly give the people who are very against Kenny and want to slag him off and don't want him there now still, it just gives them kind of a chance to raise their head above the parapet again and say, told you. And then we'll get another couple of decent results and they'll go away again.
A lot of them are missing last while. Let's actually have a look into that, right? We've got a few comments, Bill. And keep your comments coming in, by the way. They are appreciated. Pascal Hurley, here we go again. More of the same shite. I hope you don't mean us, Pascal. I really do.
Possibly.
I couldn't blame you, actually, to be fair. Roberto El Padre. It was a shocking game. The manager's out of his depth. For fuck's sakes, I could do better. Good to know. Okay. Darren O'Grady. Even a knackered Ukraine will hammer us if we repeat this performance on Wednesday. Defense very sloppy and a lack of zip from wingbacks. I think that's fair, Darren. Joe Butler, more rubbish. We will never qualify for anything with Kenny in charge. He can have all the excuses he wants, but it was bloody Armenia, lads.
Just on the thing about the wingbacks there, I think it's a really valid point there. I think your wingbacks have to kind of set the tone for how you're going to attack, and they weren't quick. Like Coleman's had a real terrible season, hasn't he? At the club, a terrible experience with the club. All right, stayed up last day or whatever it was. But Enda Stevens isn't 100% fit. That's my point. I think I would have liked to have seen James McLean. I'd have liked to see James McLean be out there, and you know what you're going to get with him, and that's what we had to do. We had to feed the ball into Robinson, Parrott dropping deep maybe, and Ogbene. That was our outlet basically, and you see that from a zippier kind of, like you said, the zippy wing backs who have to get forward. Coleman didn't really. He did at times actually. I was surprised he was actually in the box and stuff. He was a bit more adventurous than sometimes he is when he plays in that position, but not good enough to be honest, and kind of getting in the way of Ogbene and stuff. Just sometimes we just seem very unorganized. Like we'd have space and there'd be absolutely no one out on the right, and you're thinking they've over rotated really the forwards. They've kind of moved around too much that there's actually no one in that position. So
well, you say Zippy at the backs. It was more like George and Bungle.
Yeah.
It's definitely showing my age there now. I'm so annoyed. I'm not even putting this on, man. That's how angry I am. I'm not even putting it on.
Go.
Joe Butler. Oh, hold on. We already had you, Joe. Not literally. You are. Jennifer Nee, such a bad game. Yeah, fair. Kieran Boyle, our spirit animal. Name a Jesus. I spent 2 hours watching that shite. Duffy, Cole, McLean, Robinson should be sent to pasture. Zero imagination, passion, invention. At least in the old days under Jack, we'd launch it, but win 3-0. This team doesn't play with enough pace on the ball. Armenia technically better anyway. Hashtag away to Jesus at Umbro and hashtag bring back Adidas. Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. We would normally, because we would never be as technically efficient as these smaller sides. Who are always the ex-Soviet republics are always being very, very disciplined and technical, and we would just sort of power them. They were kind of kicking lumps out of us in the first half. I thought it was weird.
Very physical game. But you can't. We're actually talking about that Harian as having a really good game. He was everywhere. He was a little bit reminded me of the performance of Richard Dunn in Moscow at the time. It just everything seemed to drop to him. He cleared everything. His head was on everything. He was the one. But saying that, we're talking about their centre back. We're not actually talking about their goalkeeper having a worldie because he didn't have actually that much to do. We didn't test him enough at all. There was just
didn't have to.
They look very sluggish. They look very, like I said, made the point that they've not played football properly for a month now, and that I have kind of sympathy for them on that. But they're professional footballers. They're a lot better than this lot. Okay, but I see the comment there that they were also technically very good. We do have technical players in that team. Like I can't understand how. I actually like Parrott. I think Parrott did all right. But I can't understand how kind of Jason Knight didn't play. And I think that was falling to the pressure of Kenny of basically at the moment Robinson and Ogbene are undroppable. I don't actually feel that with Robinson.
No,
I think
especially after
he could have not started there today. He's not had a great end of season. And again, look, the calls for Obafemi, he was probably always going to be the first sub today because Kenny has talked him up in training. But I can't emphasize that point enough. I don't think he offers that in that team. I don't think he is like Will Keane. If you're going to play him as the front of that, I don't think he offers enough. He wants the ball in behind.
Yeah.
He wants you. He will suit us when we have not got the ball a lot and we're counter attacking. That's where I think you'll see the best of him.
Okay.
While his game's still evolving.
They are still young, to be fair.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Declan Quinn, terrible second half performance. I think we all expected better. Yes, we did. Joe Butler, it's the manager's job to get him ready. He does not an excuse. It was hot for both teams. Come on, we're not using that as an excuse, Joe. I think we've said this was shit, and it was shit. And we've criticized the manager, we've criticized the player. So come on, what more do you want?
I think we made the point as well that I wasn't. They were bringing in 2 water breaks in this game. That didn't help either team. I don't think it. All right, it does obviously hydrate them, but it interrupts it. It gives you more tactical opportunities to kind of adjust things. Probably confuses things more than anything. Doesn't help them. But both teams had to do that as well.
Absolutely. Brian Kennedy, rubbish, but he has his contract. That's all that matters. There we go, Brian. Now that's the spirit. That's what we're talking about there. Raymond Toot. Tweet. Yeah. Tui, sorry. What's to discuss? Their imagination, desire, or crucially talent from top to bottom now? Garbage. Don't agree with that, but anyway.
I don't know. If you think about it, like top to bottom, that's just saying we haven't got technically like good players.
They're all shit, basically, yeah.
And yet some of them are playing the Championship, Premier League. Everyone raves about Kelleher, what he does. With being in the Premier League team, and also the under-21s won last night. So there are players technically there for Ireland. It's obviously just evolving, and it's going to take time to evolve. But no, I'm not defending that performance because I'm gutted, and I'm actually gutted for the 370 odd fans who went out there, and the footage of them in the crowd, Dave, it is awful. Like they're fretting, and Jesus, what a long trip that was for that performance.
I just want to take this opportunity to thank GoToGate.com. Thank you for screwing me out of my 300 quid and saving me fucking 10 hours travel.
I'd like to thank UEFA for changing the fixtures around because we should have been playing at home today, and that's where my Ryanair money has gone. But anyway,
well, they need it, don't they?
They do.
Greg Farrell never changed the shape. Brought Stevens on from McLean. Why not Hendrick from McLean and go 4-4-2? Nathan Collins was awful today. Got Duffy in trouble multiple times. You could put a traffic cone in midfield and he'd be more useful than Hendrick. Penny made decent runs from behind. Got wide and put balls in late on. Jason Knight was excellent. Luxembourg and Australian with colour today. Shocking. Graham, I think.
Yeah. I'm a little bit on board with that. I think he had to change it tactically. I don't understand why going forward at the back would have made us a lot more solid against their counter-attack as well, because our wing-backs didn't actually offer anything. But he is persisting with that. And
he put Manning out of the team. That's the thing. Like, he dropped Manning. I think the players have let him down as well.
Yeah.
I think there is a whole lot of blame to go around there. Players have let him down. They played a part. But at the end of the day, look, you set the team up to play the way you want them to play. They know the roles. They go over that white line, it's up to them to a degree. If it's not working, then it's up to the manager to change it, and then to get the players to put the right players on, move them about, and try to get something out of it. And that has been an issue. I have said it from day one about Stephen Kenny. He needs to improve his in-game management with the Irish team. It took Mick, just going back to Mick. Mick was terrible for a couple of years, and then eventually got it. It's so important in international management because so many games like cup finals, aren't they? They feel like one-off ties, and it's something he hasn't done.
I think as well, having more subs, allowed to use 5. I think it is rather than the 3.
Hendrick still stayed on the pitch.
In your background, in the back of your mind, then you're thinking, oh well, you don't have to make that key decision on the striker in a sense. So if he's going to take off. I didn't think he should have took off Parrott, but he did. But I'd have gone Robinson a lot earlier. But if we're going to take off Robinson, he can go, right, I'll go with Will Keane. He doesn't have to make the choice between Obafemi and Will Keane because he's thinking, I'm going to put both of them on anyway because they've got 5 subs. So that is a difficult thing for a manager, but he's got to get that right. He's got to get the timing right more so on that, I think. But look, just desperately gutted. I mean, look, we've got Risk London members over there. Dec Finnegan's just messaged me there. Not much to say. Terribly disappointing. That's it. you know, I do have a lot of sympathy for the lads who travel and ladies, obviously, who travelled over there to watch that. Because
when we say lads, we mean everyone, don't we?
Yes,
It's an inclusive term. Right, we're going to wrap. We're going to wrap it up with some of the comments here. There's not really much more to talk about. We will be back on Monday, by the way. We're going to analyze the game really because there's nothing to analyze. But we're going to have a look at the press reaction. We're going to have a look at. We're going to more be talking about Stephen Kenny's reaction and see what he has to say, really, because we haven't heard that. We've just kind of gone on with this. So that's what Monday's going to be. It's going to be a preview for Ukraine as well. So we're just going to fly through some of these comments. Michael Foley, embarrassing. Fair. Stephen Hackett, I'm a McLean fan, but I think he has nothing left to offer. Sooner Smallbone takes Hendrick's place, the better, and it's time for Kenny to go. Jeremiah Feely, fucking hell, the patience is worn too thin. It's now broken. No excuses this time. Kenny must go. Wow, one game. All right. Michael Foley, Man United and Green now. Hold on. Hold on a second.
Hurts, Michael, hurts.
It's just fucking true, isn't it? Paddy O'Donoghue, 5 subs and Hendrick left on the pitch, beggars belief. Yeah, that's what we said. Setup was shocking. Everything slow over Femi and Wilkeen coming on, for fuck's sake. Both absolutely rubbish players. Don't know about that. 12 goals and 16 for Swansea for Femi. Don't think he's that bad, Paddy. To be fair, Mark O'Reilly, Kenny will come out with the usual. We dominated the game. Unlucky rubber the green, yada, yada. Fuck's sake, Stowe, though. Okay.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Like, I watched it on RTE and the Darren Maloney, I think it was a commentator, and he was just obsessed with Ireland are now at 62% possession, or now they're at 64%. It means fuck all in international football. You've got to put the ball in the end of the net, in the net at the end of the day, and we couldn't fucking do that. So there's no defense for this performance, and it's a massive setback on the Kenny kind of journey, as it were.
We haven't seen the Stephen Kenny press conference, or we haven't seen his interview at all. So we'll have a look at that after this, because I'm going to stuff myself Pringles and the blanket after this. But I think he's better off coming out and just saying, do you know what? It was a bad day at the office. I think he'll just come out with a lot more credibility. There's no point in trying to say we had possession. We should have done this. It wasn't great. And if we had, even if Benny had got the header, maybe that would have, towards the end of the first half, that could have opened it up, because Armenia would have had to come out and play. But at the end of the day, we didn't do enough. We just didn't do enough.
Yeah, so, I'm hoping that Tony O'Donoghue, whoever's interviewed him, I hope they're going to ask him these questions, because you can't let the manager really kind of flaff about with this. I hope it is going to be a little bit of a tense one. Not to have a go, not to be negative, but he needs to really come out and say, don't let him away with that percentage thing. Look, we've got to be honest here. We're calling out Stephen Kenny on this performance because it wasn't good enough. His in-game management wasn't good enough, and I hope he's rattling them lads in there with an absolute bollocking, because that's not good enough. Watching Ireland traveling around the world, expecting us to all go to the Aviva to support them now for the next 2 games.
Let's
watch that. Yeah,
it's got to be better.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely, and and that's what we do here on Green Machine. You may not believe it, but we do actually. We say what's on our minds. We're not in the pockets of anybody. But anyway. Andrew Lee felt we lacked urgency when we got the ball. Armenia seemed more direct and got a great goal. Fair play. Got 2 great goals, actually.
Yeah.
The Mad Bass is charging €100 for the home game. Shane Doyle. I love that. Shay Franklin. Kenny will be lost without Barry. No imagination or tactical adjustments when it's not going right. I think he's out of his depth at this level. Does a lot of good in terms of bringing in youth, but just lacks at this level, in my opinion. Actually, that's a very good point, and we won't drag on it too much, because obviously we're running out of time. But no, I'm not making an excuse for Kenny here at all with Kevin Barry. Kevin
Barry, not Kevin Barry, no, Anthony Barry.
Anthony Barry,
Jesus, you Fenian. Oh, you Fenian.
I'm impressed. I fucking said Randolph was left out of the team. It's not even bloody. I mean, are we now starting? We had so much good work with Kenny under Barry, and now Eustace has come in.
Just something on Eustace. He only joined up with the squad late. He got married this week, He only just joined up very late with the squad. Not that, look, I don't think he's massively essential to this. But, I take the point that we lost without Barry, the imagination from the set pieces, because that is a massive strength from us. And teams know that now, though, as well. And, so it's got to be better. I mean, I was surprised a little bit, Seamus Coleman taking our corners and things like that. But, I think, I'm looking back and I'm thinking Knight, it was a mistake not to start Knight. I think he's a really, really good player for us and a very important player for us. And I think he's the one for the future. And I think we need to have that in. You need to go with your most settled team if you can.
I think, if I'm being honest with you, I think we need to see an awful lot of maybe starting berths taken away, and maybe some international retirements. Just saying.
Yeah.
Grania, friend of the podcast, Grania Clark. Very disappointing performance. The boys look so lethargic in the second half. No sense of urgency. Loose passes, giving it away too easily. A lot of work needs to be done. Hoping for more focus and much more creativity. Come on, you boys in green. Hashtag, of course, absolutely. Michael Bergen. It was just a disgrace. Armenia beaten 9-0 in the last game. It is just excuse after excuse from Kenny. I've said it before, he's out of his depth. How can we progress when it's the same old? If the FAI have any bottle, Kenny should be gone tonight to save us from more embarrassment on Wednesday against Ukraine. If needs be, Seamus could be put in charge and bring John in from the under 21s. Amazing how these guys weren't around in our last few discussions, Martin, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not same old though, is it? Let's be honest, it's not. It's a bad day at the office trying to do something that we haven't done in 20, 30 years of Irish football. They are trying to change things, letting the players play, and that's going to take time as well at international level to learn that, because they haven't had that. Now, I know they're all professional footballers and stuff, but I don't think it's the same old. Like, we've gone over there before to those kind of countries and we've been very, very lucky. We've been at home and been very, very lucky against them. They're not easy games to win. I know I was really optimistic thinking 3-0, but maybe that was me getting a bit carried away. And because off the back of the great performance in Luxembourg, where we did get loads of goals and play really well, I just think we can't get away from the kind of hiding around this terrible performance. Is end of season, but look, that they should be putting these teams away, and you can't lose 1-0 to a team that got beaten and they're shell shocked from their previous game. You can't lose to them. That's it.
No, it's just
can't. Like,
just poor.
Yeah.
Let's move it on. Michael Foley, be fair, lads, was very warm. Yeah. Michael Dempsey, what are you on about, guys? Or what about you? What about you guys? Talking shite and making as much sense as a frog, fruit, and turf. Your analysis is absolute shite. Okay, Michael. Fan of the podcast there.
Thanks for watching.
Yep. You're still watching us, Michael. Anyway, Seamus McCartick, bring back the Duffer and Ribby Keane. Thank you. Martin F. Boland, really, things have to change. People get very frustrated when we don't get results. You cannot have excuses every time. No excuse here. It was piss poor, really.
I don't think we're not offering any excuses for this.
We're actually
really disappointed with it, to be honest, and just it's absolutely awful. But
amazing.
I just don't think it's the same old. We would have gone there previously, and we might have won 1-0, but we wouldn't have tried to play football doing it.
I got a draw,
and that's what we are doing. That's what we're doing. We are trying to play football now, and if you look back, it's quite an open game, probably too open, and that's the problem. If you're playing against a really, really good team, I don't know how we're going to be fair when we're really, really open like that, because other teams will just pull us apart at the back.
Absolutely. Darryl O'Connor, friend of the podcast. Still back, Kenny. Don't think the problem was the final third. For me, just lack of creativity, dominate possession, but nothing there. And also adds that Hendrick made a few decent passes. To be fair to him, he did. But to be fair with Jeff Hendrick, he did actually make one or two lovely cutting passes. He did early in the first half, but he just fizzled out, and that's where the game management comes in. His purpose, he was very purposeful, served the purpose in the first half. When that fizzled out, that's when Kenny should have changed it. To be fair, his usefulness had gone at that point. Patrick Murphy, what's another year? I think that must be to my post last week about Johnny Logan. Michael Dempsey, what about the players? Kenny wasn't on the field. Yeah, Michael, if you've been listening, although that comment is from a while ago, we have been slating the players. We're slating everybody, actually. Stephen Hackett, not slagging off Stephen Kenny. If he's not the right man, he's just not the right man. Singing his name won't make him any better. No, but it makes him feel better. Makes him feel warm and fuzzy inside, Stephen. No centre midfield who can hold the ball. No, I think
Cullen can do that. I think, look, the one we've got to replace is Jeff Hendrick, and who's going to come in to replace him, and that's the challenge we've got. So yeah, that was it. I'm not blaming Jeff Hendrick for this, but no. We basically had, in a way, two centre holding midfielders. In a way, Jeff Hendrick played a bit more advanced, as far as I saw the game, read the game, and that's the magic player we're missing. We haven't got someone who's creative like that on the ball yet. That's come through and is ready for that role. I know there's all talk of different players and the under 21s, and let's bring him in. But they've got to be doing it week in, week out. And he trusted Jeff Hendrick because of his experience and stuff, I think, anyway, in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Craig McDermott, Armenia is lovely this time of year. Yeah, looked it. Actually, I am right. Like, all seriousness, I am actually raging we didn't get to go there today, but I'll go to gate for you. Carl McGibney, Harian had the game of his life for Armenia, controlled it first half, not just in sync with forwards. Cullen disappeared in the second half. I don't know why Jeff is near the team. Karen, absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. Totally agree with you there. Jamie Fitzsimons sums it up. Shambles. Was a bit shambolic, to be fair. James Casey, stop making excuses. It was shocking. A fucking disaster. Headless chickens. Tell us what you really think, James. Dennis Murphy, another load of rubbish. When Kenny ever do the right thing and resign and take the clown Andrews with him? Poor Andrews always gets in the neck, doesn't he? Kenny will destroy the younger players if he's left there. He has nothing to offer the players. He is a disgrace. Martin F. Boland, all managers who get bad results are sacked. Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, it's our first loss in 9 games, so. Craig McDermott, the media have to stop protecting Kenny and start telling it as it is. Sadly, Kenny is out of his depth.
Yeah, on that point, as I said, I want to see the media actually not go at him and be negative. I think they've got to make him accountable for this and ask him the questions and not defend him and look for any positives, because we're not looking for positives here. We're saying how it is, I think, and we're not giving out excuses. I think we're just being honest with our views as fans and saying what we think about it and what we've seen. And I want to see. I'm really interested to see what Kenny comes out with, because again, the possession stat, look, it's not really relevant. It means nothing unless you are in their box creating chances. That's the stat that matters. The one, how many chances did you create? How many times did you test the keeper? It doesn't matter anything else. I mean, like to say that 62%. And when we came here last time under Martin O'Neill, whoever it was, or Kerr, or whoever, not Kerr, it was Trapp. But if we come there and the possession we had was 50%, that's not showing involvement of it, because we got a result last time. So it's getting the balance right in what you're saying.
Look, you could talk about possession and all that kind of stuff in the first, when he took over the job at first. You could point out, well, we're doing better in possession. We see what he's trying to do. We see what he's trying to achieve here with the Ireland team, trying to change the structure or whatever. That's great. But when you're 2 years into it now, you have a settled score. When we said at the beginning of we said in our pre-match foreplay, before the game, that disastrous game kicked off, we said there's no excuses now for Kenny. There are none.
There's none. No.
The players.
That's a settled squad. He's got his squad. He has. He's missing 2-3 players maybe at most from the squad.
But so you should be doing better than a team than a team ranked 92nd in the world. It's just usually disappointing. Bernard Connaughton, very poor performance. Old school, pumping high balls in at the end. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that's what you got to do, really, isn't it? And here's the thing with football. I mean, you wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of that. Mixing it up a little bit. If it's not working, then sometimes with a team like that, it's very hard to pass your way through. Sometimes you just have to go and just bombard their box as much as you can, open them up, get the goal, and then start passing and then make them chase the ball, and then you bang in another 2-3 goals. It's normally how it works against these teams. Not today though. Kieran Boyle, was your man Harry and taken? # your arrogance offends me. Kieran there. Jamie Fitzsimons by Cattle Doolan responded to Jamie Fitzsimons an understatement. I think he said it was a shambles. Val Maguire, is Sean Maguire injured? Does anyone know what is happening with him? Yes, he's not very good.
Jesus, I hope that's not a relative.
Sorry, Val. I mean, he's not for Ireland. And to be fair, he's not doing well. Moving on, Darrell O'Connor. I'm sorry, but anyone calling for Kenny out are clues, and most likely done 10 games. And Kenny, we still trust. Listen, I'm still trusting Kenny. He's had a bad day at the office. Very important now. Needs to get a good result. Needs to have a reaction against Ukraine. If we get a reaction for the next 3 games, then this will just be a blip. It'll just be seen as that, and we'll be laughing. If we struggle, we're in trouble. He's in trouble.
And I don't want to hear the actual players coming out and being really honest and not this shit that I've listened to all year as a Man United fan. We go again and all that crap. I want to just see us. The proof is in the performance. That's it. Don't want to hear words. Not interested in it. I can see with my own eyes what we saw today. And it's not good enough playing for Ireland. And the proof is in the performance now on Wednesday.
Absolutely. And the final comment, we're going to read it. By the way, thank you everybody for your comments, even some of the abusive ones. We don't care. Say what you want. We'll read it out. You won't hurt feelings. Very thick-skinned. etc. Brian Wilson, we should be capable of beating teams like Armenia, but saying that there is a reason why they are in the same Nations League group as us. We are paired with teams who should be at the same level, need better performance / results in upcoming games. So yeah, that's true. I mean, the Nations League is what it is, and they're in the same group as us. I think they got promoted. Did they get promoted from in the last one? I think they did, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So actually, I'll tell you what. One more. Tony DCFC. Ireland strikers couldn't count the arse for the banjo. There you go. Well, we're going to leave it there, folks. Thank you very much. Very emotional for 40 minutes. Thank you very much for your feedback. Really do appreciate it. Shit result. We'll be back on Monday. The usual time at 9:15. We're going to have a look at the media reaction and see what the media actually say. We'll have. I bet you Nick's glad he at least he could drown sorrows at the wedding.
Yeah,
up at Donegal, bastard. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to see how the media respond. We're going to see how the players respond and see what they come out. It's going to be very interesting anyway. Really poor performance. Daryl, we'll see you Monday too, pal. Guys, thank you very much for joining us. Martin, thank you. I'm going off
to drown my sorrows. I'm going to drown my sorrows.
I'm going to eat myself to death in Pringles. So. Anyway, we'll leave you there. Thank you very much. And come on, you boys in green.